The first games have been played in the WNBA, and at the top of the defensive rating, the Indiana Fever.
The Indiana Fever just rewrote basketball history in a single night. Caitlin Clark needed 41 games to accomplish what took Diana Taurasi 565 games. 11 WNBA records shattered. Angelrees and the Chicago Sky absolutely obliterated. The basketball world can't stop talking about Clark's triple-double, but that's just scratching the surface of this historic beatdown. So the Indiana Fever just committed a crime against the Chicago Sky. I'm talking first-degree murder, premeditated with extreme brutality. Someone called the basketball police because what we witnessed wasn't just a win. It was a 35-point demolition that sent shockwaves through the entire NBA. And let's be honest, most people tuned in for the Caitlin Clark versus angelrees showdown, the former college rivals now leading their respective professional teams. The media hyped this matchup for weeks. ESPN practically foamed at the mouth. But nobody, and I mean nobody, expected what actually happened.
People are going to talk about this, but there were way more interesting things about this game to me, and I want to talk about them right now. For one, the new look Indiana Fever looks super strong, getting DeWanna Bonner from the Sun and Natasha Howard from Dallas. You see the immediate impact already. Giving Caitlin Clark even more weapons to work with will pay dividends this entire season. I personally think her best attribute is her passing, and dude, I cannot wait to see a full season of this. And Caitlin Clark had a great game. I mean, even though she came in for the last rebound to get the triple-double, this was a complete game no matter what. 10 assists to 3 turnovers. Remember last year in the earlier part of her first season that she had a lot of turnovers? If she's able to get these turnovers down and keep them down, this is a crazy leap. And angelrees 12 and 17. She's the only one that showed up for her team today. So yeah, but I'm more fascinated by this aspect of her game. She went 5 for 13. Yes, she also went 1 for 2 from beyond the arc. If angelrees is able to improve her finishing touch around the rim, the sky is the absolute limit for her in terms of her game. Regardless of that, her team shot 29% from the field today. You're not going to beat any team like that. Also, shout out DeWanna Bonner for being 3rd on the WNBA all-time scoring list. That's pretty cool.
For starters, 11 records were broken. 11. In one game. That's not just winning, that's rewriting the history books while simultaneously burning down the library. The Fever didn't just beat the Sky, they sent them back to basketball elementary school. But before I get into Clark's ridiculous performance, we need to talk about something that almost got lost in the Clark mania. DeWanna Bonner walked onto that court just 7 points away from basketball immortality. 15 years of professional excellence, thousands of buckets, and now standing at the doorstep of becoming the 3rd highest scorer in WNBA history.
People are going to talk about this, but there were way more interesting things about this game to me, and I want to talk about them right now. For one, the new look Indiana Fever looks super strong, getting DeWanna Bonner from the Sun and Natasha Howard from Dallas. You see the immediate impact already. Giving Caitlin Clark even more weapons to work with will pay dividends this entire season. I personally think her best attribute is her passing, and dude, I cannot wait to see a full season of this. And Caitlin Clark had a great game. I mean, even though she came in for the last rebound to get the triple-double, this was a complete game no matter what. 10 assists to 3 turnovers. Remember last year in the earlier part of her first season that she had a lot of turnovers? If she's able to get these turnovers down and keep them down, this is a crazy leap. And angelrees 12 and 17. She's the only one that showed up for her team today. So yeah, but I'm more fascinated by this aspect of her game. She went 5 for 13. Yes, she also went 1 for 2 from beyond the arc. If Angelrees is able to improve her finishing touch around the rim, the sky is the absolute limit for her in terms of her game. Regardless of that, her team shot 29% from the field today. You're not going to beat any team like that. Also, shout out DeWanna Bonner for being 3rd on the WNBA all-time scoring list. That's pretty cool.
Would anyone even notice this milestone with all the fever mania happening? That's the question that hung in the air as the game against Chicago began. Bonner has been putting the ball in the basket since 2009, steadily climbing the scoring ranks through stints with Phoenix, Connecticut, and now Indiana.
Emotional, you know, to be at this moment in front of a sold-out crowd, in front of all this attention, and to have that moment is just pretty special to me because I don't want to say I deserve that, but you know, I'm trying to be as humble as I can, but being around that long, I kind of feel like I deserve that moment, and for it to happen right then and there in this time period in my career, it was just, I don't know, I'm just so grateful.
The moment finally arrived in the final quarter. Bonner was sent to the free throw line to hit 2 shots. The first one swished in, tying the record in front of an adoring crowd. The second one pushed her past 7,488 career points, making her just the 3rd player in the 28-year history of the WNBA to reach this scoring summit.
You know, DB is somebody that, you know, he's a Hall of Famer, like a legend, not only a good basketball player, a great person, a great leader. You know, the strongest voice in our locker room is hers, and it's fun to have been around here now for about a month just to get to learn from her and soak it in, and I'm really happy she got to do it at the free throw line and all the fans could go crazy and cheer for her because she certainly deserved that moment, and it was really awesome to see and be a part of.
What makes Bonner's achievement even more special is how she's transformed the Fever's culture. This isn't just some aging star chasing personal glory. She's a 6-time All-Star with 2 championships who brings winning DNA to a young roster desperate for guidance. When she speaks in the locker room, players like Clark, Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, and Lexi Hull listen. As Clark herself put it, DB is somebody that's a Hall of Famer, a legend, not only a good basketball player, a great person, a great leader. The strongest voice in our locker room is hers. It's fun having been around her now for about a month just to learn from her and soak it in. I'm really happy she got to do it at the free throw line and all the fans could go crazy and cheer for her because she certainly deserved that moment. The Indiana crowd gave her a standing ovation when the PA announcer shared the milestone. It proved that even in this era of viral highlights and young superstars, basketball fans still recognize greatness that spans decades. Now, Bonner has only Tina Charles ahead of her at 7,696 points for the 2nd spot on the all-time list. But as impressive as her achievement was, the night was just getting started. Another Fever star was about to remind everyone why Indiana's future looked so frighteningly bright. Remember when people questioned if Aaliyah Boston could truly dominate, especially against fellow South Carolina alum Kamela Cardoso, who stands at 6'7"? Those critics got their answer in the most emphatic way possible against the Chicago Sky.
Here, Bonner comes up with a steal. The veteran off to the races. Given some space, barges in and gets denied by Boston. Pop it in, the O board, no. Another chance stripped away by Clark. Boston comes up with her 3rd block of the day.
Boston entered her third season with something to prove. She wasn't just looking to be a great player, she wanted to establish herself as a franchise cornerstone alongside Clark, the duo that would power Indiana for the next decade. The Chicago frontcourt came in full of themselves. Angelrees had been talking all week about how she planned to dominate the paint against Boston. Instagram posts, press conferences, even in warm-ups. Reese made it clear she thought she'd own the matchup. Boy, did that age poorly, like milk left in a hot car during an Indiana summer. Boston's response? A defensive masterclass that left jaws on the floor. 5 blocks that sent Sky players' shots flying into the stands. The kind of rejections that had fans jumping out of their seats and pointing at the scoreboard. Each time Reese went up for a shot, Boston seemed to be right there waiting, like an annoying neighbor who always knows when you're having a package delivered. Boston finished with 19 points, 13 rebounds, and those 5 momentum-changing blocks. The performance moved Boston to 8th in rebounds in Fever franchise history in just her 3rd season. Players have been grabbing boards for the Fever for decades, and Boston is already in the top 10 all-time. At this rate, she'll own every Fever rebounding record by the time she hits her prime, which is a terrifying thought for the rest of the league. Her defensive dominance also moved her to 6th in blocks in Fever history. But the combination of 19 points, 13 rebounds, and 5 blocks put Boston in truly rare air. She became only the 2nd player ever in WNBA history with 15-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus blocks in a season opener. The first? Natasha Howard back in 2014. That's exclusive company for any player, let alone one in just her 3rd year. The Clark to Boston connection showed perfect chemistry all night. Clark kept finding her big for easy buckets, a high-low pass here, a perfectly timed bounce pass there. Meanwhile, Boston kept protecting the rim like it contained the nuclear codes. Every time Chicago thought they had a lane to the basket, Boston slammed the door shut so hard it probably caused a small earthquake in downtown Indianapolis. While Reese did manage 17 rebounds, her offensive game suffered terribly. She shot just 5 for 14 from the field, struggling to score over Boston's perfectly timed contests. The much-hyped matchup turned into a clinic on defensive positioning and timing. All that pre-game trash talk from Reese aged about as well as those titanic, unsinkable headlines from 1912. But the most jaw-dropping moment of defensive brilliance came when Boston and Clark combined for a record that had never been seen before in WNBA opening night history. A partnership that would have scoring wings and guards around the league, rethinking their approach to attacking the Indiana defense. Now let's talk about what Caitlin Clark did against the Sky. It wasn't just impressive. It was something we've literally never seen in the 28-year history of the WNBA. No one has ever done what she accomplished in that season opener. Not Diana Taurasi, not Sue Bird, not Cheryl Swoops, nobody. Clark entered her sophomore season carrying massive expectations. After breaking 62 records during her rookie season and transforming the Fever from lottery team to playoff contender, fans wondered what she'd do for an encore. But nobody predicted what was about to happen against Chicago. And early in the game, Clark was already on fire. She hit a logo 3 within the first few minutes, the kind of shot that makes defenders shake their heads and reconsider their career choices. The ball barely touched the net as it went through. That was just the beginning. She played like someone who had spent the entire offseason with one goal: dominate on both ends of the court. Clark started seeing passing lanes nobody else could see, threading needles with passes that seemed impossible, like she had basketball X-ray vision. She grabbed rebounds over taller players, out-jumping them with perfect timing. But most surprisingly, she blocked shots like never before. Her 4 blocks set a career high and became the most blocks by a point guard in a season opener in WNBA history. This shocked everyone who thought defense was her weakness. These weren't just weak contests either. They were emphatic rejections that energized the entire team and probably crushed the souls of the Chicago Sky players. The Clark-Boston connection reached its peak when they combined for 9 blocks, the most by any duo in a season-opening game in league history. Think about that, a point guard and center combining for 9 blocks. That's the kind of defensive impact usually reserved for Twin Towers front courts, not a guard-center pairing. It's like finding out your accountant is also a champion kickboxer. Nobody saw this coming. When asked about her defensive performance, Clark was typically humble. It's not really something you can work on. I felt like I had active hands. I had some pokes when our post players were playing good defense. The coaching staff has just challenged me to try to be a better defender every single practice and just getting better in that area. I still feel like there's a lot of room for me to improve. I don't think any of those blocks were too obvious. You look at the stat sheet and it's like, oh wow, 4, but when you can get your hand on there and help your teammate out, it makes a world of difference. As the fourth quarter began, anticipation built throughout the arena. Clark needed just 2 assists and 1 rebound for history. The crowd sat on the edge of their seats as she chased the first ever 20-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist triple-double in a season opener. Every time she passed the ball, fans held their breath. Every missed shot had them watching to see if she'd grab the board. With just under 5 minutes left, Clark secured her 10th assist on a perfect pass to Aaliyah Boston for a mid-range jumper. The crowd erupted. Then, minutes later, she came back into the game to snag her 10th rebound, sending the arena into absolute pandemonium. History had been made, and everyone knew it. Clark's 20-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist performance wasn't just her 3rd career triple-double, it made her number 3 on the all-time triple-double list. She became the fastest player in WNBA history to reach 3 career triple-doubles, needing just 41 games, while also tying Aaliyah Thomas for the 2nd most 20-point triple-doubles ever. But the most mind-blowing stat shows how Clark is rewriting the record books at warp speed. She now has 9 games with 20-plus points and 10-plus assists, 2nd all-time next to Courtney Vandersloot. What's even more record-breaking is she did this in just 41 games, while Diana Taurasi, also with 9 such games, took 565 games to reach that mark. Courtney Vandersloot needed 430 games to reach 10 such performances. That's the difference between Clark and everyone else who's played in this league. What takes other players their entire careers to accomplish, she's doing in her first 41 games. She's not just breaking records, she's shattering our understanding of what's possible for a player in professional basketball. At this point, she's not just moving the goalposts, she's taking them down, setting them on fire, and replacing them with something from another planet entirely. Think about this. If Clark maintains even a fraction of this pace, she'll break every meaningful WNBA point, assist, and triple-double record before her career is done. That's not hyperbole, that's math. And math doesn't lie, unlike your ex who said, "It's not you, it's me." As Kendrick Perkins put it, Caitlin Clark is a superstar. Not a female superstar, she is a superstar. We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play. She moves the needle. What we just witnessed against the Sky isn't just a win, it's the birth of a dynasty that could dominate women's basketball for the next decade. The Fever's 35-point demolition of Chicago represents more than just a regular victory. It showcases what happens when generational talents align at the perfect moment. And this wasn't any ordinary blowout. It represents the 2nd biggest win margin in Indiana Fever history. While skeptics might dismiss this as just one game, the statistical evidence tells a different story about what's actually brewing in Indiana. 11 records broken in a single night isn't a fluke. It's a warning shot to the rest of the league. It's like showing up to a knife fight with a bazooka and then casually mentioning you also have a nuclear submarine on standby. The Clark-Boston connection is evolving faster than anyone anticipated. Their combined 9 blocks demonstrates they're developing two-way chemistry that goes beyond scoring. That defensive partnership wasn't supposed to happen this quickly. Most experts predicted it would take years for them to develop this level of court awareness together. Instead, they're already setting records as a duo. It's like they've been playing together since birth, which would be weird since they're from different states, but you get the point. This roster has unprecedented balance. You've got a sophomore star in Clark who's breaking records at a pace never seen before. You've got a third-year dominant big in Boston who's already climbing the franchise record books. Veterans with championship experience like Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sydney Colson, Brianna Turner, and Sophie Cunningham provide leadership, and young stars like Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull who are entering their prime. When you look at how quickly this team is gelling, it's hard not to get excited. The spacing is perfect, the defensive rotations are crisp, the ball movement is exceptional. These aren't things young teams typically excel at. Yet the Fever are making it look easy. It's like watching a group of college freshmen ace a graduate-level exam while simultaneously planning a killer weekend party. This isn't just about one record-breaking night. It's about witnessing the formation of a team that could redefine WNBA basketball and bring multiple championships to Indiana. We're seeing the basketball equivalent of watching the early Chicago Bulls before their championship runs. You can feel the foundation being laid for something special. The most exciting part? Clark, Boston, and this Fever team are just getting started, and the rest of the league should be terrified about what comes next. If they're breaking 11 records in a single night now, what happens when they really hit their stride? What happens when the team reaches peak chemistry? This isn't just a good team having a good night. This is the beginning of something historic in women's basketball. So let's recap the 11 records that were shattered that night. Caitlin Clark, first 20-point, 10-rebound, 10-assist triple-double in a WNBA season opener. Caitlin Clark, fastest player to 3 career triple-doubles, 41 games. Caitlin Clark tied for second most 20-point triple-doubles in WNBA history. Caitlin Clark, most blocks by a point guard in a season opener. For Caitlin Clark, 9 games with 20-plus points and 10-plus assists in just 41 games. Diana Taurasi needed 565 games to reach the same mark. DeWanna Bonner, third highest scorer in WNBA history. Aaliyah Boston, second player ever with 15-plus points, 10-plus rebounds, and 5-plus blocks in a season opener. Clark and Boston, most blocks by a duo in a season opener. Indiana Fever, second largest margin of victory in franchise history, 35 points. Indiana Fever, most blocks in a season opener in franchise history, 11. Indiana Fever, highest field goal percentage in a season opener in franchise history, 56.7%. The gap between the Fever and the rest of the league is only going to widen from here. They won 93-58. The Chicago Sky probably need therapy after that beatdown. Angelrees might want to delete those pre-game Instagram posts about dominating Boston. Sometimes in life, it's better to keep receipts. Other times, it's better to burn the entire store down. The Indiana Fever didn't just win a game. They rewrote basketball history with 11 shattered records. Clark, Boston, and Bonner just put the entire WNBA on notice. The scariest part? This dynasty is just getting started. Hit that like button, subscribe now, and comment, "I've got the fever" if you're witnessing basketball revolution.